Welcome. So today we are going to use AI tools to level up our productive time as a data developer, data analyst, or reporting and insights analyst. This is great if you're new to data or want to get into data. These tools can also help with some time-consuming parts of your data development journey. If you enjoy this, like and subscribe. Hit that thumbs up. We will use the free version of ChatGPT for this. I will go through some real-world scenarios as a datapreneur myself. I'm using the AdventureWorks database from Microsoft. If you want some tips on how to use prompts and how to structure your prompts a bit more, check out my prompting video. Let's get started. Alright, so today I'm going to be using the AdventureWorks database from Microsoft. I'm using the version 2016. It doesn't matter what version you're using. This is a great sample database that you'd find in most organizations that running a data warehouse environment. So it's got facts, dimensions. It'll have a bunch of views, stored procedures, presentation layer, semantic layer, and those types of sort of objects that are available. So here's the database, and here's some code, and then we'll be using ChatGPT as well. So let me just bring that up just so you can see. All right, so this is the standard version of ChatGPT. I'm not using the paid version. For demonstration purposes today, everything's going to be done in the free version. So what we need to do today is just give you a bit of an idea and show you how effective ChatGPT can be for a data analyst role or a data science role or for a visualization and reporting type of role. So the first scenario that I thought of was explaining code, because whenever you come into an organization and somebody hands you a piece of work, they say, cool, what's going on here? So I think let's do the first thing over here. So let's do an explain code scenario. So let's go, please explain this code, and let's grab the code that we want to explain. So this is just a random stored procedure from my database, and let's copy it out and pop it into ChatGPT. All right, so let's hit enter, and it should now give you a bit of a description on how this code is structured and what is it actually doing. All right, so script specifies the database to be used, the set statements, alters the stored procedure. So it's almost going line by line here of what it's actually doing. And then in summary, stored procedure creates a table called dim date LP and populates it with rows. So it's basically a standard dim for getting a date through ranges. Pretty fantastic, actually. So I had no idea what I was going to throw at it. All right, so let's create a data dictionary from this particular stored procedure. So what happens sometimes is you create a stored procedure, but you now need to do some documentation. So how do you level up the documentation process? You've already got the code. Now you have to go into another tool and copy and paste and potentially reinvent the wheel. So let's try this. Let's give it a bit of a nudge. All right, so here's a data dictionary. So what is it doing? It is basically giving you a data type, a column name, a description, and ultimately giving you a data dictionary. Now, as you can imagine, if you've got 100 of these stored procedures, this now obviously has made short work of that. Or if you've got a table, you can now create a source to target mapping of that. So again, pretty powerful. I think that's definitely would save a huge amount of time in a lot of scenarios. All right. Let's see if I can do something a little bit more funky. So let's see if we can pass it something that it doesn't actually know the answers to. So in our AdventureWorks database, we're going to have a bunch of facts and dimensions here. I want to try and create a view to join the tables up. So I want to use fact, internet sales, dim product, and dim date. So I've created my own code over here of what I think it would be, and this didn't take me very long, but again, let's just hit execute, and this is what the information looks like. So if I had to write this code manually, this is how I would do it. All right, if I had to write this in ChatGPT without, again, any context, let's see what it would do. So I think what we'll need to do is just pass it a little bit of information just so it doesn't completely fumble. Alright, so we want to create an ANSI SQL statement to join up a fact and a dimension in an efficient query. Use abbreviated aliases of the table name. So again, just good standard practices when you're creating SQL. The fact table is internet sales, the dimensions, product, and dim date. And importantly here, the keys to join the dimensions are the product key and the date key. Right, let's hit enter and see what it does. Alright, network error. So let's just give that a go. Alright, so you may find that on the free version. That's all pretty normal. Alright, so what you can do is just click regenerate. Alright, so here's the code. It's created aliases for fact internet sales, dim product on the product key to the product key, and join it. So pretty decent. I mean, if I copied and pasted this code out, it might work. It probably will work, but again, a little bit of tweaking here. So again, quite an easy and efficient way to just quickly generate table code, and you can now go in here and tweak it up a bit. Alright, so let's have a look now to try and create that as a stored procedure. So sometimes you want to do this information as a stored procedure, or maybe even create it as a view. So let's go, let's create it as a stored procedure for now, because I think that would be quite fun, and allow it to pass in a date. Alright, so stored procedure, you basically pass it a date whenever you're querying it, and it will basically bring back a result set. So let's give that a nudge and see what that does. Alright, so it's now creating a stored procedure. It's got the order date as a variable, which you can now pass in, and selecting the information order where the date is equal to the date. You can put your greater than or equal to, whatever the case may be. Alright, and what we've got over here is now you can execute the stored procedure by providing a stored procedure. So to execute the stored procedure is normally an exec command, and basically that's what it looks like. So again, pretty fantastic. So as you can see, what we're building on here is a way to use and interpret data. Alright, this is great, but I like commentary in my code. So let's add some commentary to the stored procedure, because it just makes it easier for everybody in the world to understand what we've done. So let's add commentary, and certainly here is the modified code with comments. Alright, so pretty detailed commentary. Again, if you had to write this out yourself, it would probably take you a little bit of time. So again, time saved. Fantastic. Alright, so I think let's create a data dictionary for this now. Again, so very similar to what we did previously. So you've written this code now, you've tested it, it's all happy days. You can copy it back into ChatGPT, and now you want to create a data dictionary for it. So let's create a data dictionary for that and pop it in, and let's see what it does. Alright, so here is some information, and again, if we had more information over here, we could probably build it in. So sales data availability, table must contain the sales date. Here's the data rules dictionary. So again, we can now just alright, great. So we've now got the dictionary created for us. Another thing that it's really good at is optimizing code. So let's create a code example here, and we will just pop in something over here. So I've deliberately left out a join statement. So let's hit a enter over here and see if it finds the error. Okay, so what it's done now is it's actually fixed up the error, and it has said that the left join now includes all of these things. So again, pretty decent. We wanted to include a customer key. It automatically just knew that there was going to be a customer key over here, and we now obviously wanted to join it up. So again, how awesome is that? It just automatically found the answer for you. All right, so let's add in another prompt over here. So let's just say, let's pretend that this query doesn't run very fast. So let's say this query runs too slow. Why? All right, so let's go over here. All right, so here we can look at optimization. So these are the standard database practices whenever you're querying any data system: lack of indexes, too much data, inefficient joins, complex logic, skewness, etc. So let's say, how do we add indexes to our information set? So let's just go how to add indexes on keys, and let's hit enter. All right, so to add indexes, you would do this. So create an index name on table name, column 1, 2, etc. So for example, adding an index on product key column, if there wasn't already one. So create an index, and let's use some good naming conventions on that particular table and that particular column. So again, it's basically given you the answers. It's told you what to do. It's now up to you to take this information, put it in your code, run it, and see if it improves the performance. You can then obviously start working through other parts of it. Right, so another really powerful feature around ChatGPT I found, and obviously part of your day-to-day for working with data, is to analyze that data. So I'm going to take some data that I've got in the AdventureWorks database, and it's basically the same view that we created now, and let's just copy the top 100 records. That should be good enough for a sample size. Remember, don't put any of your own information into ChatGPT. If you would like a video on how to create your own personalized ChatGPT server, hit me up in the comments and I'll show you exactly how to do that using some pretty cool nifty GitLabs. All right, so let's take this data set, pop it into ChatGPT, and ask it to explain what is in this data set. Can you explain what is in this data set? All right, so you don't have to ask it please, it knows that you mean please, and that's great. I don't normally ask it for please, but let's give it a go. All right, so what it's doing now is it's ultimately taking the information set, putting it into a tabular format, and it will basically say what it has found and interpreted. All right, so product name, the column provides the name of the product ordered. Sales amount displays the monetary value of the sales for each order. Customer number, unique identifier. All right, again, I mean, like, this is pretty amazing, right? They had no context whatsoever on this data set. All right, so let's give it a bit of work to do here. So as part of being a data analyst or an insights analyst, or anybody who really cares about understanding what we could do with this data, let's see what it can do for us. So you are a data analyst. What insights or recommendations would you provide? Only 2 recommendations. Let's see what it does. All right, so as a data analyst, based on the provided data set, I can offer the following insights and recommendations. Popular products. All right, it looks like the Mountain 100 Silver and Road 150 Red products are frequently ordered. All right. So high demand for them. And then insight number 2, sales by the day of week. It's possible to observe the sales patterns throughout the week by aggregating and comparing. If we wanted to look at more high-performing days or low-performing days, that could help us target our marketing campaigns or our operations, or get our people to man the phones or to man the warehouse, or just do different things. And again, give you some good sort of tips and tricks on what you could do with this data. All right, so that's great. So let's use these insights. So let's ask GPT to write me a code to find the top performing products in order. All right, let's hit enter. All right, so it's now created some SQL code to find the products, sales amount, grouping it by product name, and ordering it by the sales amount in descending order. It all looks pretty fantastic to me. I mean, this would be exactly how you would do it. There could probably be a couple of things you would add to it, like days, weeks, months, etc. But again, you ask it for it and it will do it. All right, so that's all happy days. I'm quite impressed with that. And again, this is a system that knows nothing about your data. It's just now recently looked at that data for the first time. Again, pretty fantastic. All right, so let's write code to create and aggregate the sales amount by month by product. All right, so let's hit enter and have a look over here. All right, so we're going to aggregate the sales amounts and group it by the year, the month, and the product name, and order it in that way. Pretty decent. And again, it gives you a bit of a description on how it's going to do it and what it's going to do. So I'm pretty impressed with that. All right, this is now where we're going to see if ChatGPT can level us up. All right, so in day-to-day manipulations and day-to-day analysts work, you're going to be creating regular expressions. You're going to be trying to determine age of customers. You're going to be trying to remove characters from strings and digits from strings, and you're going to be doing a whole bunch of things like that, which can take a little bit of time, especially if you haven't done it a lot. And sometimes these things are just time consuming by nature, and it doesn't really get you into the meat of the actual data analysis. It's now more data prep work. So let's give it a go here. So what I want to do is take the dim customer table over here, and as you can see, we've got a customer age or date of birth somewhere here. Where's the date of birth? Well, there's the date of birth column over here, and let's see if we can write some code to get the customer's age as of today. So let's give this a nudge over here, and so write SQL code with commentary to get a customer age as of today based on the column birth date. It is best as a use. Is it best as a function or inline SQL? So we're asking it now to do comparison. Is it better to write it in inline SQL, or is it better to call a function? Hopefully you know the answer to that, but let's see what the answer is. All right, so it's giving us both options here. So option 1, using a function, and it's given us the explanation. Option 2, using inline SQL, and both options provide a way to calculate the customer age. The choice is specific requirements and overall structure. Using a function offers reusability and encapsulation, allowing you to call the function again. All right, so if you got this as a very common thing that maybe your front-end system wants to use, your back-end systems use, multiple reports, multiple SQL queries, then probably use it as a function, because then you don't have to write it again and again and again. Again, depending on what your needs are. So it's given you a pretty decent answer there. All right, so let's take a look at this over here, and let's give it a test. So let's open up our database, and let's actually, all right, so let's select the customer. All right, so we want to look at our customer table. All right, so birth date. All right, so let's go back over here. So let's choose the correct table. All right, so from our dim customer, and we want to select, let's just get rid of that column now. All right, so it's going to have the birth date, the date diff, and let's give it a go and see what it comes out to. All right, so it's made pretty short work of that. So 51 years of age as of today, and it's written this SQL command over here. All right, pretty fantastic. Again, this probably would have taken you a few minutes or a couple of minutes to figure it out if you didn't already have a stored procedure or a function that you could use. If you're new to programming, new to SQL, you'd probably have to go into Google and Google the hell out of this. It's not really done it for you in a few seconds. So pretty fantastic. I mean, I'm impressed. All right, so let's do something a bit more funky. Let's use again the same scenario or similar scenario on our customer database, and a common thing that I've found is extracting only digits from a phone number. So when you're on a dialing system or a campaign analysis or campaign system, it only wants numbers, doesn't care about anything sort of other than digits. All right, so let's see if it can create some code for us. All right, so we're going to use a T-SQL version here because I'm running Microsoft SQL at this stage. All right, so let's just go back into our GPT and let's say create T-SQL to only show integers in a varchar phone field. Alright, so let's hit enter. And again, I've deliberately been vague here. I don't really want it to know what I want to do. Alright, so it's now created a set of code, and let's copy that out and have a look at what it actually did. Alright, so select phone numbers. Alright, and it's created this over here. Okay, so let's hit execute. And it's now created the phone number using only the digits. As you can see, it's pretty much done it. Hasn't truncated anything. It's given you the right answer. So pretty fantastic. All right, so once you've got all of these things done, your data cleansing has been done, your data validation has been done, your insights that you might want to do, it's now really about going and creating some visuals. So if you've got a BI tool of choice, you can go in and start creating things. But if you wanted to get an idea of what visuals to create, let's go over here. So recommend data visualizations for the fact internet sales. And we're going to base it on that stored procedure that we created and create a template in Power BI. So let's see what it comes up with. And I think it's going to be pretty fantastic. So let's hit enter. Alright, so it's basically giving you an idea of what to create. So just a bar chart or a column chart for the sales amount, using dimensions. You can compare sales performance across different categories or time periods. So we've got line charts, scatter charts, map visualization, key performance indicators. And here's some of the things here. So let's go here. What are KPIs in sales? All right, so here we go. Sales revenue, sales growth rate, conversion rate, average deal size, cycle length. So again, it's giving you a huge amount of information here at your fingertips, and it can level you up. If you go to your manager or to your business unit asking for this information, or saying you can produce this is going to make you look like a superstar. Obviously, you still have to code it up. You still have to make sure the data is validated. You need to make sure the data is accurate. But again, great insights, great options here to explore, and I'm impressed. This could literally change the lives of data analysis forever. The things that have just taken me here have taken me 22, 23 years to figure out and to master. Again, I won't use all of this information, but again, it's a beautiful starting point. So I'd encourage you, have a play around, have a look and see what else it could help you with.